Hello, Thop people. Welcome, Shravan sir, our speaker, our today's speaker, Gitu ma'am, and everyone present over here. So I'm glad and blessed to host this wonderful session. So before that, let's start our session with an invocation by Madhu.
Thank you, Sri Nivedita Balabaina. This is who we are. We are a team. Talented, energetic, astonishing mindsets. We can do anything and everything. We talk, we care, we respect each other. We see beauty in everything. We are connected by hearts and driven by values. We celebrate each other. We provide value to each other. We take ownership in everything we do. We have the freedom to make mistakes. We learn as we go. We are mad to make a difference. We love disruptive ideas. We make impossible things possible. We are strong to question the creation. We believe in dreaming big. If we do not dare to dream big, are we really living? Why be ordinary when we can be extraordinary? We can do it, we will do it. Let us not hope for the best. Let us be the best. We should be driven by our goals, not by egos. This is who we are.
Thank you, Madhu Gundagani. So now let's, uh, let's hear about our most loving and lovable Geetu ma'am. Uh, Before that, let's have a little introduction about her. So she has 25 years of experience in the corporate world. She's so humble, she's so sweet, she's so cute. And now she quit her job to become a divorce coach, which is her passion, and she's also taking care of her parents. She's mentoring several students in ESL and has become integral part of ESL. This is really huge and amazing. So now that the topic which she has chosen has also made me the depth fan of her, because when I started my self love journey, she is one of the starting persons who believed in me and my self love journey. So, she has become one of the reasons of my strongness. Because the way she listens to all of us makes me admire her quality of living. She's one of the inspiring and a strong woman I have never seen. And so here we are more excited to listen you, Geetu ma'am. Now, before that, I want to ask few questions. Um, like how your self-love journey has started and what impact it has created and how it changed your life, and also who is the inspiration behind your self-love. Most importantly, I think you have answered this question before, but uh, what made you to choose this topic of self-love? So,
Okay. Thank you, Devi, for that flattering introduction. And I must say, joining ESL or starting, when I started to work with ESL, that was a big milestone for me. This was almost 2 years ago now. With my self-love journey, yeah, I did. It started just a few years ago. The conscious self-love journey. You do various things in your life which comes out of self-love, but you may not know that that's what that is. And when I go through the presentation, you'll see that you are doing a lot of things which constitutes self-love. But mine started, I would say, about 7 years ago, consciously. And it came out of pain, unfortunately. We go through transformation in life, uh, either after pain or you start young, like you all are, right? You all are going through a transformation in your life every day, but not necessarily out of pain, right? You have this opportunity, and it's beautiful when it happens that way. But many of us have to go through pain to learn our lessons. So my self-love journey started with that. And also when I started dipping my toes into spirituality, I actually didn't know what self-love meant. Because once, when you're with parents, you're doing what parents want you to, then you get married, then there's so many other compromises you make. We tend to lose, especially for women, we tend to lose ourselves in all these relationships. So we forget ourselves. When you have children, you're all about your children. Of course, with children, it's a very different relationship, right? Everything you do, it comes out of pure love. It doesn't feel like a burden at all. So I did ask myself a lot, what does self-love mean? I had, and I mentioned this to you guys before, Mashu has been a guide for me. So any questions I have like this, uh, I would call him up. So we would have conversations about self-love. What is it? I really don't get it. Is it being selfish? Am I being selfish, by practicing self-love? Um, so he gave me one hint. He said, it's different for different people, right? Self-love is different for different people. Um, so one of the ways you can look at it is when you look at others, you're feeling happy uh, for them, regardless of where you are in life, regardless of what you are going through in life. That is self love. What that means is I am fine where I am in life. I don't wish to have somebody else's life. So, in spite of all the difficulties, all the ups and downs in my life, I would not exchange my life for anybody else's. So, I love where I am. And I have a couple more things to that. I enjoy company. I like being with people, but I also enjoy my own company. I like my alone time. So those two things, and there was one more thing, holding myself accountable. This is really big. I hold myself accountable for everything that has happened in my life. So that has really, really helped me on my journey. Because if you don't do that, if I didn't do that and I constantly look back and blame somebody else for what happened to me, then I'm not looking at it from a perspective that it happened for me. So to teach me something or, for my benefit. Yeah, it doesn't mean everybody has to go through bad things in life, right? To be happy. No, it does not have to happen that way. But we all go through those ups and downs, you know. But it's how you look when you go through something negative or not so good in life. It's perspective. How do you look at it? Did it happen to me or for me? So holding myself accountable for everything that has happened in my life has truly helped me on this self-love journey. So here I am, I feel very happy most of the time. Of course, I go through the sad moments. It's part of it, right? There is no perfection. And just because I'm talking about it, about self-love this evening doesn't mean, hey, I am happy all the time. I love myself all the time. No. For some reason, Swapna asked me to talk about it a few weeks ago. And they say you teach what you need to learn most. So I still have a long way to go in learning about self-love. And so here I am. Maybe I hope that answers your questions. And I hope I remember all the questions too.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you for all the questions and I mean for all the answers for my questions. And like one more thing I want to ask, uh, like I mean, did you felt really comfortable talking about yourself? I mean, like for me, most of the times I really felt uncomfortable. Not because I feel very uncomfortable to talk about myself, but the people around me. Like whenever I say self-love or whenever I talk about myself, I feel like they might feel uncomfortable or something embarrassing moments. So, I mean, did you feel that way?
See, again, getting to that comfortable point is also a journey, right? With practice, it'll come. So if the others start practicing and the people in your world who are listening to you talk about self-love, maybe at first they were, why is Devi talking about how she's feeling? I still remember your first posts where you said, I'm not feeling so good. You know, you said something like that. So I thought, oh, this girl is very courageous. She's being vulnerable here by saying that. So there may be some people who are uncomfortable. So with me too, in the beginning, I was not so comfortable. So I would speak only when it is safe, when I felt safe, only with my close friends. Of course, now ESL is a safe space. I am more comfortable about speaking about my journey. I don't hesitate, you know. Maybe that is part of my growth through self-love. You know, I don't feel anything inside when I tell people, yeah, I've been divorced, so I've gone through a divorce. I don't feel any embarrassment or discomfort anymore. So for you too, Nivi, I'm sure you're a lot more comfortable talking about yourself and what you're going through now, right? It's just practice, I think, like anything else.
Thank you, Geeta, for answering this question. I do feel like, I mean, if we are comfortable with ourselves, then, I mean, we should not think about what others think. But like sometimes it might, I mean, if they are close friends, or if there is a person who is in our family person, or who is in family, uh, I mean, they might feel uncomfortable, but I don't want this self-love journey to only be at certain point. I mean, I want to continue it in every point of my life or every stage of my life, because like self-love is not a journey, like it's a life. I mean, which everyone should practice. I it's just my thoughts, because not everyone can agree to what I say, because everyone will not have, or everyone will not feel the same in self-love journey, but it has happened to you and to me and to some of us in our Thop.
Absolutely. And more and more people need to become aware of it. So, as you said, it has to become a part of your life, right? It cannot be, yeah, self love is in that box. I go to it on Fridays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and then I come out of it. It is not like that. So, just like with anything else, you know, in my previous life, when I worked on compliance, right, on compliance programs in the corporate world. So our effort was to make it part of your daily job, to weave it into your work. Because if we say, oh, these are the compliance, 10 compliance things you need to do, and people will complain. It's burden, it feels like burden. But when you actually weave it into your daily activities, then it is not a burden. And we reap the fruit too with things like self love, saying no, all the other things that you have been discussing and having conversations. You know, it becomes so much easier, it becomes natural too. So, and it's important to talk about it now, uh, but there'll come a point when we will still, there will be struggles, right? We are not always going to be 100%, but we'll be so much better.
Yes. And one more question is, sorry, I can't stop, but because I am in that self-love journey, so much, I mean, so many questions. Like, this is not known. I mean, we all practice, or we all have this self-love from our childhood. I mean, if we observe ourselves consciously, then we might have this kind of love which we have given to ourselves from our childhood, but we are just not aware of it. For example, if we take few things, like we have been practicing since years, or we have that things from many years, but like we also have this self love, but we are not just aware of this thing, of this point. So the thing here which I want to ask is, I mean, when I started this journey, I mean, it is exciting, and at the same time, it is challenging for me. because I don't know where it takes. I mean, it is good. That's the reason I consciously make this statement. Like whenever I feel like I want to make this statement, I just make this statement like it is working for me, and I don't know whether it works for you or not, because I just can't promise them. Like because gratitude is something which like from years it got started, and it has some proofs or like that. And self love, we need to create that kind of proofs, or sometimes it is not needed also. But sometimes I just feel like to uh, I mean, for people who should believe in self love, they should some or the other way should practice self love, like how we write gratitude cards to know the importance of gratitude. So like the same way, like to have that self love thing, they should also practice that thing. And one more thing is, in arts college, like when we had open day few days back, I went to arts college, and there is one psychology session. In that, the first thing I have seen is, I mean, for growing people's inner confidence is self-esteem. I mean, self-esteem, self-love, self-confidence is all comes under one thing. So, like these are few of my thoughts, and Geeta ma'am, over to you.
Beautiful, beautiful thoughts. And at this young age, you're thinking about all this. And you said something that you find it challenging. Yes, it can get challenging. It's not going to be, if let's say let's take the simple example, right? I prepared this presentation and I prepared for this talk with the expectation that it'll go very well, but it's possible that it may not go as well as I expected it to, right? So after that, I sit back and say, oh my God, I messed up. So for days, I'm sitting here hating myself for not doing such a good job, right? So that will happen too. But what happens with practice? You said it right. With practice, it'll get easier. Maybe I'll cry over it for 2 hours instead of 2 days. Right? We'll always feel bad if we feel that we have failed at something or we have not done something for our expectations. It may not be your expectations, my expectations. So we are our worst critic here. We talk about being judged by others, others being judgmental and mean and all that, but we can be our worst judges there. So it's not the others who are, creating hurdles. We are doing that to ourselves. So yes, the journey will be challenging, but it will get less and less challenging. And the thing is again to focus on you, because everybody may not receive it the same way. What you are saying, what I am saying now will be received so differently and perceived so differently by each and every one of them. Some people will say, oh, that's BS. I don't believe in that self-love BS. Okay, maybe they'll come around, maybe they won't. It's not our job to make them come around. We just speak from the heart. That's all. So keep going. I wish you all the best, Nivy, and we are all here to support you.
Thank you so much. I mean, I still remember like when I started this self-love journey, you have been that person who encouraged me. Like, I mean, there are very few people who understood the importance of it, and you have understood it in a very more or in a more clear way. And these days, I'm feeling like most of the days we just feel like we are not enough at the end of our days, or at the end of our of completion of our day. So I just felt like self love can also work, or can also be that feeling enough for that day.
Yes. And I do have in my presentation, I have some tips, because if you overall we are talking about self-love, it can be hard to comprehend. What do I do? The same questions that I had in my mind, right? When I had those conversations with Mashu, I didn't know what it was. How do I measure it? So, and this, we can read books till we are blue in the face, only with experience, with practice and experience, you can see things shifting inside you. It is practicing self-love brings about an inner transformation within you, right? That is the foundation, and everything else changes around you, even externally. So
Yes.
I'm glad I was able to be there for you, and I made such a big difference. And thank you, always.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, you have presentation now?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, ma'am. I thought you don't.
No, that's okay. Well, we can have conversation too. I did prepare something, but conversations are more important.
Ma'am, and we are excited to listen to your presentation. You can go ahead.
Okay, and I will try to, since it's 7:20, I'll try to cut short my presentation so we have more conversation. Yeah, so maybe we will run through it faster than I had originally planned. I did want to, how many people do we have on the call? 28, 29. So
Yeah,
I did want everyone to take just a few seconds and write down. You don't need to read it aloud or tell anyone, but write down what self-love means to you, whether it is in one word or in a sentence. Because you all have the benefit of our self-love queen, Nivi.
ma'am.
So for the more over a year, she's been talking about self-love. So whatever you have understood until now and what you feel, just write down. I'll be quiet, maybe 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Just set it aside. And now I want us to do, I think it'll come to about 3 minutes, a very simple meditation. No need for music or anything. I'll guide you through it, but I'll try to talk as little as possible. But just close your eyes and bring your awareness. Deepu, close your eyes.
Excuse me, I can't. I have to work. I've got guests. I'm making bhel puri for them.
Okay. You're excused, Meenaji.
I meditate through my process.
Yes. So close your eyes and bring your attention to the bottom of your seat, wherever you are. And follow your breath. Breathe in and out. No special breathing, just normal breathing. Just breathe in, breathe out, and follow your breath. Now bring your attention to your toes. Wiggle your toes. And bring it up. Your attention to your ankles, your calves, your knees. You may feel tingling as you bring your attention into your body. Your thighs, up your torso, then down your hands, and keep your attention on your palms for just a few seconds and see what you feel. Come back to your neck, your face, your ears, your forehead, and your crown. Now come back to your heart. Bring your attention down to your heart. Stay there a few seconds. Remember to breathe. Follow your breath, and there may be thoughts flying through your mind, a million thoughts a minute, but let them go. Don't hang on to any thoughts as you do this. When you get a thought, just bring your attention back to your breath. So what we did there is it's very quick. You can do it much slower. But we are bringing our attention from everywhere into our body. So you're fully in your body when you do this activity. You don't need music, you don't need anything. Right? You can do this while walking to college, while you're commuting, while you're in the bus, anytime. Anytime you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, do that. So anybody wants to comment on what you felt? If you felt anything, I know we did this somewhat quickly. No? No comments? Okay. Well, Marsha says blissful. So that, I wanted you to experience that, and that experience will be different. Thank you, Marsha. So that is love. That is self-love. What you experience when you are with yourself, and this everything else outside is quiet, that is love. So the self-love thing, we can talk about it for hours and hours, but it is this experience will take you to the real thing. And when you are there, it is like you are love, right? It's not like I love you, you love me, but you are love. People will feel it. People around you will feel it. Oh, Nivi missed the second half. Oh well, Nivi, we'll do it again next time. Okay. So let us look at what I put together. I do, before I jump in and before I forget in the end, I do want to acknowledge Vinay's help. Thank you, Vinay, for putting finishing touches on my presentation. I really appreciate that. And then Nivi Ju's invite was fantastic. The write-up she did. Where did she come up with? I thought it was Nivi, but then it turned out to be Nivi Ju. So there's so many people coming out here. Self-love queens, self-love experts. Okay, so let's dive in. So I think we talked about this before, topics such as this, self-love, setting boundaries, saying no, accepting failure. These have to be practiced and experienced. These are not something we can just theorize. We talk, we put them in words. So we have some pointers, right? Because we understand words. But you have to experience these things. Viva, could you go to the next slide, please? Okay. So I think we talked about why it is important. So I really won't beat that one to death anymore. Who was it that maybe it was Nivi. Nivi was the only one talking about when we are children. Right? When we are a child, we know self-love. We are born with that. We are happy regardless of what is happening around us when we are little, right? When we are below 3 years. And we have all we cared was about ourselves at that time, but still we were very happy and people loved us. What changed now? So it's all that conditioning that has been put on us. That, oh, this is how you need to be. We talk about that in our holiness in calls too. All the conditioning that goes into it. So we lose the child or we forget the child is in there. We need to bring it out. So, okay, I won't talk too much about why it is important. I think you all get it now. So, what the heck is self-love? Next slide, please, Vivo. So we can boil it down. Again, it can be expressed in so many different ways, but It is our ability to look at ourselves in good light in spite of our imperfections. We are all imperfect, but we are perfect with our imperfections, right? There's so many contradictions in all these topics. But it is how we look at ourselves with all the imperfections we have. Oh, I have a big nose, or I have this, I have that, I don't have this, all those things. So it's our ability, our own ability to look at ourselves in the best way possible in spite of all these imperfections. Yes, people, imperfectly perfect. Yes. And then we touched upon this, even if when we mess up, how we beat ourselves up. So it's our ability to not beat ourselves up so much. That is self-love. But if I stopped here and told you this is it, this is self-love, go practice it, you will tell me go take a hike with the man. This doesn't make any sense for me. So what I did was I put together a few slides which will take us through that journey. And in the end, we'll have very simple things that we can do that we can weave into our daily practices. So let's see. Let's go to the next slide. So without self-love, what happens? We are constantly, when we don't become aware that, hey, I am not practicing self-love, what happens? We are always critical of ourselves and we are trying to please others. I am not comfortable with who I am, so I'm trying to be somebody someone else wants me to be. Right? We end up doing that a lot. And I think until we started consciously recognizing these things, like saying no, setting boundaries, loving yourself, that's what we were doing, pleasing others. Parents, and I'm not blaming parents, they did what they could and I did what I could with my children. Right? I the best I was able to, but I made mistakes too. So we become people pleasers. And this is very important to me. More likely we will tolerate abuse from others. So I talk to so many women and even men actually, even through my work, they go through this emotional abuse, physical abuse, and why? Because they start believing that they're not enough, right? And this is what I deserve. I'm not good enough. That's why I'm getting this, and they tolerate this for years, right? They neglect their own feelings and their own needs. And what ends up happening is we end up making bad decisions. You end up staying in toxic situations for years. So why is this topic so important for this audience, which is already aware? You're not starting at ground zero. Thank you, Nivi. So why is this so important? You are already in relationships, right? Family, your siblings, your parents, but you'll go into other kinds of relationships too, with your boyfriends, girlfriends, with your spouses later. So know that if there is abuse in a relationship, that you don't have to take it. You should speak up. So if you practice, the more you practice self-love now, what we are talking about, the more you practice that now, the stronger you will be. And you will not even get into those situations, right? When a person sees weakness, they attack out. So if you are strong inside, you will not even get in that situation. If you do, unfortunately, you'll know how to handle it. Next slide, please. What are the benefits? It reduces anxiety and sadness, and it improves relationship. So all the things that happen when there is no self-love, it's the opposite things here. When you do practice self-love, it improves relationship, it reduces clutter from your life. What do I mean by that? One example is, as part of this practice, you are setting boundaries. You're getting better at setting boundaries. So the people who do not support you, you are you very easily walk out of those relationships. You're not staying. And when you walk out of relationships that are not serving you well, you are reducing clutter from your life. That is one type of clutter, right? And there's clutter from your mind too. You are reducing. So overall, your happiness goes up. Vivu, next one, please. So the basic ingredients of self-love, I feel, are saying no and setting boundaries. All these are so intertwined. And each, although they are intertwined, each in itself is a huge topic for conversation, right? Saying no is very familiar to you all. You have discussed that at length on your transition calls. And setting boundaries, I feel that is something we need to, maybe you did talk about that during your transition calls too, but setting boundaries is very important. And people will violate your boundaries if you're not firm. And acknowledging and feeling all your emotions. So if you're feeling sad, be there with that feeling. And then you ask, why am I? Sometimes we feel sad for no reason, maybe something triggered, but we are not aware. So once you stay with that emotion without being in a hurry to brush it off, then that emotion will eventually, it will dissolve. And you will figure out, okay, now I'll go and get support. So that is important too. We are not living here in isolation. I can't stress that enough, right? We should be happy alone, but we are social beings, right? How much joy we get from each other being in this community. So it's important to remember that, not just during the good times, even when you're not feeling so hard, when you're not feeling so good, your friends are there for you. So it's important to remember to seek help. And being vulnerable, we started that conversation on vulnerability. It's a huge topic, but even if it is to yourself and acknowledging your emotions, being vulnerable, again, they're intertwined. Even when you're alone, you say, okay, I'm not feeling so good. Let's say you're feeling jealous about something, about someone. We do go through that, right? We are not free of all these emotions. So let's not pretend like they don't exist and we don't feel them or we don't experience them. So acknowledge it to yourself. I'm feeling jealous of this person. And that will dissolve with time, but only if you acknowledge, not if you brush it under the rug. And accepting yourself even when you fail. You guys talked about this a lot, so I don't think we need to discuss this more on your transition calls. I think we talked about failures as well. So in future calls, if we need to dwell on it more, we can. Next slide, please, Vivo. Now we come to, so what I have done is I've tried to distill it to some very simple things that you can do as part of your self-love activities. So how do you practice self-love? Yeah, I shouldn't feel bad if I fail. I shouldn't feel bad if I messed up. That's all very easier said, right? But how do you practice it? If you look at it, and these are only 16, if we put all our heads together, we'll come up with 100 more things like this, right? So if you look at these, laugh every day. I added after our conversation in the transitions group yesterday, or this morning actually, and Veena ma'am started. So we need humor in our lives. Never lose your sense of humor. My daughter, when she was in college, they were all asked to do an exercise. Actually, they were asked to do a will. Do your parents' will. And interview your parents. They had a list of questions that they were supposed to ask their parents. So my daughter asked me, one of the questions I remember is, Mommy, how do you want to be remembered when you're gone? Right? The will is after you're gone, when you're dead. That's what the will is for. So I said, I want to be remembered as a person who had a good sense of humor. It's very important, the sense of humor. We shouldn't take everything in life so seriously. So laugh every day. Yes, Praneeth. Praneeth says same. Absolutely. So let's try to make a conscious effort to laugh, to joke. I know you all do that in your groups. So continue that, right? That's easy. So you're already doing that. Exercise daily. I know there's a group of people who are exercising daily. Hope the others are doing too. So this is part of your self-love. And you'll not only be mentally healthy, but you'll be physically healthy too. Practice gratitude. We have a gratitude goddess. So we are doing that. So, and it's not just about attending the calls. Attending the obsession calls is very important. But being conscious of these things outside, once you come out of the e-cell bubble, are you conscious of all these things? I'm sure you are. So practicing gratitude, spending time in nature. Spending time in nature is one of my favorite activities. Looks like it is Deepthi Chikahuli's too. So when you are in nature, if you actually sit down and silently under a tree, in a few minutes you will become one with nature. You will not feel difference, and you will feel that love that you experience when you do meditation. So try that. Go into nature from that perspective and see how it feels. Don't compare yourself with others. You have heard that. So it may be hard to do that, but I feel for you guys, it is getting easier and easier. And that is something we have to practice on a regular basis. Um, Try not to worry about others' expectations and perceptions. Let me see if I can bring to your attention anything. Associate with people who support you. For example, this e-cell environment, when you do that, what happens is you get stronger, and when you go even outside e-cell, you're able to handle yourself very well. Because there's always people who are trying to bring you down, right? Oh, no way, all those things, they make even silliest comments that could bring you down. That won't happen when you are getting stronger by associating with people who are constantly supporting you, looking out for you. Okay? See beauty in simple things. These are all really easy to do. Ask for help. Very important. Ask for help. Forgive yourself when you mess up. And let's see what else. This one we already talked about, holding yourself accountable. You are accountable for your life. So I would say here's something I would ask each of you to do. Pick some 2 or 3 things that you feel are hard. The low hanging fruit, I feel you're already doing, the easier ones. But pick 2 things that you feel are hard and consciously practice them every day. And see what shifts. Journal. Write about how you feel. Okay? I think that's it. The last slide actually talks about what I just said. Support each other. Remember to support each other and get support from mentors. We are here for that. We are not here just to spend happy times with you all. Right? We are here for the ups and downs with you all. So let me see. Any questions? Did I miss any comments? What's that?
Yes, Will.
Yeah, thank you, Nimi. So, ma'am, you just covered everything. I was just noting down these things and నేను చూసుకున్నా అనమాట ఇంకేమైనా మిగిలిందా అన్నట్టు. Oh my God, it was so beautiful. And I mean, especially in your voice, it was so soothing. I just really loved listening to you, ma'am. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Somehow, like, your words make a very great impact on me. Whenever I want to transform from one from a like from a one perspective to another perspective. You just come in at that right point of time. You just say a few things normal in just normal calls too, and that makes a huge impact on me. Oh my god.
Oh, thank you. I have become your mind reader. I read all your minds now. No, that's very kind of you, Vivo. Thank you. And you can stop presenting Vivo
Yeah,
and appreciate you driving. Made it so much easier for me.
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Viv,
So,
for expressing. Uh, and also like how like Vivekta said, I too felt the same. Like I am with no words actually. I really love the basic ingredients and the practices for self love. I mean that is the most loving slides. And also like every time whenever I mean like self love is something like it is somehow difficult topic to talk or to speak on, but while you are speaking, like I mean I and all of our teammates, like I think every one of us felt like we should continue doing this self love journey or the importance of this self love journey. So I really love the expression which you have given for a beautiful self love journey. So thank you so much, Gitu ma'am.
thank you, Devi. Thank you. You have actually laid down the path for everybody. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean it. So,
Thank
the talk you gave, right, last week, beautiful, comes from the heart. So keep going. And everybody too. It's not just about listening to Nivi and going back and doing your thing, but practice. Now, we
yes.
have a few hands raised.
Yeah, yes. I will call the name. Rohitanna?
Yes, Nivi. Yes, ma'am, you're right. Because of Nivi, and we got to know many and we learned many things. And thank you for the beautiful presentation. It covered everything as Vivekta mentioned. So whatever we are having conversation so far, you have summed up. And I feel always like since 19 years or so, I keep on telling to good deeds to my friends and all. So there are only less people who receive things in a good way, right? So and I like people. I support people, and somehow people also support me. I love people, and I care for people, and I don't get the same when I did that. I don't get, and I used to feel like loving myself has been a only some part out of uh, all my years. Like when we started, or when we got to know about what is called self-love, and of course we had this word self-love earlier, we have listened to it many times, but didn't happen to see the essence of it, right? Experience the essence of what exactly the word mean to. But when she came and when we started conversation, I felt like I should have gone to earlier days and feel myself and love myself even more than loving other people. So even though I started doing that, and when I do that, I feel rich. So may not be economically, but emotionally I've become rich. Daily I'm becoming rich today. So like you see from the sports club, morning 6 a.m. When we post the photo with the Dhamma, so I feel like I become rich, and I make her rich. We make her rich. So this was a journey from loving people to loving people and loving myself, or loving ourselves. So this is very important. Of course, that's the reason we are discussing. Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Rohit. And yes, you are experiencing that every morning. And and see, if we don't feel good on the inside, what are we going to give? Right? If you are poor, can you give money to others? Can you help others financially? Same thing. If you're sick, you cannot help the people who are sick, who need help. So it starts with us first. And automatically, it will not, taking care of others will not seem like a chore at that point.
Yes. Thank you so much, Rohit, for that wonderful expression. And thank you, Gitu ma'am. Vivekta?
Yeah, thank you, Nivi, for again giving me chance in that chapter. So, like as Rohit Anna said, ma'am, self-love అనేది like we we had them in our lives before too, but అంటే like till Nivi started concentrating on it and really started stressing on the word self-love, and I didn't really realize it that okay నాకు కూడా ఉందా అన్నట్టు. It is something like I might have had it only in some parts of my life but not for uh, whole complete part. But ఇందాక మీరు అన్నారు కదా మ్యామ్, సెల్ఫ్ లవ్ ఇస్ డిఫరెంట్ ఫర్ ఎవ్రీ పర్సన్ అని. సో I was just while you were giving presentation, I was just going through my things and I was just understanding myself more after that thing, after you said that line. Because అంటే somehow self love అని అన్నప్పుడు okay, for me for me at least now my definition is being more confident of who I am. Maybe that is my kind of self love expression అన్నట్టు. That is what I realized.
Beautiful. Yes. And that type of thinking is needed a little bit. So you're aware, right? So very good, View. Very good.
Yes. Thank
So
you.
thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone who is willing to speak or any comments for Geetu ma'am presentation or anything you want to share? You can.
Hi all.
Yes, Mashu.
I'll add a few words. So, first thing, I'll just ask one simple exercise of everyone. If you just close your eyes and just think of the times that you've spent with Geetu ma'am, and just quietly think about that. And you think about the times when she has not told anything, but she's just been there, and you've been in her presence, and you would know that that is something special because you don't even need to have her converse with you. She doesn't have to talk. You just stay with her and you'll feel that there's something special there. So that indicates also that there is self-love, and when that is there, she's creating a very special, beautiful atmosphere wherever she is. Okay, so that is a direct experience for you. You can define it like ma'am said till you're blue in the face, but that is a direct experience for you. So if you've had a taste of that, you'll know that with some people they will yakety yakety yak, they'll just talk, and if you don't talk back, or if they pause, you may feel a little uncomfortable. Suppose they stop in the middle of that because you have not responded or something. You may feel uncomfortable, they may feel uncomfortable. But you'll notice with ma'am that you may pause in your conversation. She'll let you think, she'll let you take your time. There won't be any judgment because it's just a comforting presence. So that describes it.
Thank you, Kitu. That is so sweet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mashu, for mentioning. Yes, I mean, you have told it correctly, and also like when Mashu told about your presence, yes, when I closed my eyes and felt, I could really feel the importance of that moment which I have spent with you, Gitu ma'am. So thank you for that beautiful presence and the hugs which I had with you. I could still, I mean, the first thing that I got in my mind is hugging you. So thank you, ma'am. And also like whenever someone grows or whenever someone is being happy for themselves or achieving something, uh, like the true face or that happy face I could see is Geetu ma'am's face. Like she feels very happy from inside, and that is what like it melts my heart very much. So thank you so much, Geetu ma'am, for that also. Uh, Shravan sir.
Thank you.
Shravan sir, you can go.
I think it's Deeptira first.
Okay.
It's okay, sir.
No, Deepti, go.
Okay. Uh, I just want to thank you, ma'am. And I mean, that last slide made me realize so many things. అంటే చాలా వరకు అందులో చెయ్యాలి అని స్టార్ట్ చేసి ఆపేసినవి ఉన్నాయి. And now it really ignited that thing to restart them again. So thank you for that slide, ma'am. And beautifully articulated the every word. చాలా బాగా నచ్చింది ఈరోజు టాక్.
Very good. Thank you, Deepu. Yes, I will be checking on you. I'm not going anywhere, right? So I
Yes.
will be checking on you.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you so much, Deepu. Yes, Shravan sir.
Hey, thank you, Gita, for this beautiful presentation. Really loved it. Uh, you know, now we are growing, maturing as a group, and we are having many accomplishments. So sometimes you might feel like, someone is not accomplishing us. So you should not fall into that trap. You should know that you can accomplish you can um, be happy with yourself, which is what is more important. So this presentation should, make you aware whenever you are like, you know, expecting something from someone or something, then you should say, hey, I didn't get it. It's okay. I am happy with myself. Okay. So I think this presentation is like really needed for us at this time. And thank you very much, Gita.
You're welcome, Shravan, and thank you. I
Yes.
know I sound like a broken record, but you all make me so happy. That's why I smile and hug when I see you all.
Thank you.
It's a reflection of you.
Thank you. Yes, Rohitanna.
Yes, yeah, just now Mashu's mantra line I've got. I'll read out and I'll start. A rose in the best rose there is in the world. A butterfly is the best butterfly in the world. Look around, you are the best there is in the world. So, thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and one more thing, one more to add. If what happens if we don't love ourselves or like I experience it. I keep on experiencing that because uh, I didn't learn myself, no? So I kept on experiencing. And just to add to that point, ma'am, already you have explained it why it is needed and why what if it is not followed or what if we don't love ourselves. So it's first of all, it will be we tend to use this word daily, emotional damage. So it happens and it wastes a lot of time. Like when we think of we are caring for people, but I am not caring about myself. So it will really waste a lot of time and that results in nothing. So productive time or whatever we say, అది ఏం ఉండదు. So it will take away a lot of time and which results in again in inka. So emotionally and when people call us, so we'll get rejuvenate again from there. But the time, whatever the time we get to waste it, like when we don't love ourselves every time, so that time will be wasted. Even though we get a call after that time, after some time, and rejuvenate, that remaining part which we gone through, that will be really wasting. And I experienced it, and later I realized I should not do. So this is what I learned from self. So it's time and emotion, everything will be lost if we don't love ourselves. So that is the reason we should love ourselves. So thank you, Nivi, and thank you, Geeta, ma'am, for self, yeah, self-love queens. Yeah, we love it.
Thank you, Rohit. Yes, very, very well said. Very well said.
Thank you so much, Rohitanna, for sharing that beautiful experience. It is like sometimes people who believe in us also matters the most. So thank you for believing in us. And just few minutes, like few seconds back, I received a message from Tarun, like telling, for sure today's talk is extra nurturing of your self-love. I mean, yes, it is indeed because for me, uh, like at some or the other point of time, I just need some points or some things to make myself believing in my self love journey. So, and this is like one of the best presentations which I had, like which I can feel like whenever I think about this journey, I could feel very confident about my self-love journey. So, thank you so much, Geetu ma'am, for
Awesome. Thank you, Nidhi. I do want to say something. Yeah. As we go through this journey, we shouldn't think to ourselves that, hey, I'm not perfect yet, I'm not there yet, so I cannot receive. So, receiving gracefully is also part of this journey, right? When somebody is giving you love, you receive it. When somebody gives you a compliment, you receive it. Um, I talk about this with my friends. I was not very good at receiving compliments. I felt I didn't deserve it or whatever. But now, if somebody compliments you, do the best you can to receive it gracefully. Right? That is also part of this journey. You don't have to be perfect to receive love or to receive anything. So remember that.
Yes, Geetu ma'am. Like I also feel like receiving the compliments. I mean, instead of feeling like we don't deserve for it, we can just feel happy for having such compliments. And I really do it from my childhood. I don't know why, but I really feel happy or really feel very, I mean, very shy. I mean, whenever I
Oh,
get compliments, but I feel very happy for
yeah,
having that.
good.
It's kind of like I saw I saw few people who tell like I don't deserve this. I mean if we sign or if we tell a compliment to them, but it's their way of living. But I really I mean feel very happy when I receive a compliment.
Yes, good, Navy. Very good.
Yeah. So I think
Past 8 o'clock.
is there anyone who is willing to speak or can we end this session? But, okay. Uh, Thank you so much
Thank
for this wonderful presentation and for your lovable voice, which we have been hearing from 1 hour. So thank you for that, and thank you everyone for joining.
thank you. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to talk for an hour.
And also happy to everyone.
Yes. You too. Bye.